Hello everyone! In this lesson, we're going to create a professional 3D product animation in After Effects using only the built-in tools. No external plugins required. Before we dive in, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support my work and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. If you're ready, let's jump straight into it. Now, let's start organizing our scene. To create a more controlled workspace, we're going to select the perfume, leaf, and text layers individually and pre-compose them. This process will allow us to work on each element independently and manage our scene efficiently without it getting too cluttered. Now it's time to bring the leaves to life. First, double-click on the leaf layer to open it up. Let's select the first leaf layer. To make the animation look natural, we need to move the anchor point to the very bottom of the leaf. This way, the leaf will pivot and rotate correctly from its base, as if it's attached to a stem. Now let's dive into the technical side of the animation. Press R on your keyboard to reveal the rotation property. Let's create our first keyframe at the start and set the value to 10. Move forward 4 seconds in the timeline and change the value to -10. Then, move another 4 seconds ahead and set it back to 10 to capture that natural swaying effect. To make the movement look smoother and more organic, select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease. Finally, to keep this motion looping indefinitely, hold down the Alt key and click on the stopwatch icon. In the expression field, type Loop Out. Now, our leaf will continue to sway consistently throughout the entire composition. We don't need to waste time repeating the same steps for every single leaf. We can simply copy the rotation property we just created and paste it onto all the other leaf layers. However, I have an important reminder here. Before you paste the animation, make sure you've adjusted the anchor points for each leaf at their respective bases. This ensures that every leaf sways correctly on its own axis. Right now, all the leaves are moving in perfect sync, which makes the animation look a bit too artificial. To give it a more natural and organic feel, we're going to offset the timing of each leaf. By slightly shifting the layers or keyframes individually in the timeline, we break that synchronization. This way, each leaf will move in its own rhythm, making the entire scene look much more realistic. Let's head back to the main composition. Now, double-click the text comp and let's start animating our titles. Select the text layers and press P for position. Create keyframes at the start and at the 4-second mark. On the first keyframe, drag the text down to create an upward motion. Now, apply Easy Ease to all keyframes and use the graph editor to refine the speed. To add a smooth transition, press T to reveal the opacity settings. Create keyframes at the start and at frame 19, then set the initial value to 0. Apply Easy Ease to all keyframes to ensure the text fades in with a professional and polished look. To ensure consistency, let's quickly apply the same animation settings to all our remaining text layers. We want the glare line to scale up from the center. First, press U to reveal all active keyframes, and let's delete them to start with a clean slate. Position the layer where you want it to appear, then press S to open the scale property. Set your first keyframe, move a few frames ahead, and add another one. Back at the start, here's the crucial step. Unlink the chain icon to disable proportional scaling. Set the value to 0, and finish by applying Easy Ease to all keyframes. Open the graph editor to refine the speed. We'll adjust the curve so the movement starts fast and gradually slows down. This timing creates a much more organic and professional momentum for our animation. Let's head back to the main composition. Since we want the text to appear towards the end, we'll shift those layers down the timeline for now. Now, let's focus on the star of the show. Double-click on the product composition to start the animation process. To create the illusion of the product rotating, let's duplicate the text layer and position it to the left. Parent the duplicate to the previous layer, then press P for position and nudge it further left. Now, set a keyframe, move forward about 5 frames, and align the text to the center of the product to complete the rotation effect. Select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease to smooth out the motion. Next, open the graph editor to fine-tune the curve. Since we want a more cinematic feel, let's extend the timing by moving the final keyframe to the 4-second mark. Now, we have the exact smooth result we're looking for. Now let's make the text appear only inside the product. Select the layers and pre-compose them. Next, duplicate the perfume layer and move it to the top. By applying a track matte, we constrain the text within the bottle's silhouette. This creates a perfect illusion of the product rotating on its own axis. We're applying the exact same techniques to the spray nozzle. Since the steps are identical, I'll fast forward through this part to save you time. The logic remains the same: duplicate, parent, and mask. And that's it! By following these simple yet effective steps, we've added depth to our 2D layers and created a convincing 3D illusion. These small details that add realism are what truly take your animation to the next level. To enrich the animation even further, let's add some water droplets to the product. Using a pre-made water droplet video, I'll apply the same rotation techniques we used before. I'll speed through this part since you're now familiar with the process. These tiny details will significantly boost the realism of our scene. Now, let's add the touch that brings the product to life: the spray press effect. After parenting the nozzle to the layer, press P for position. Create 3 keyframes at 15-frame intervals. Pull the middle keyframe down and apply Easy Ease to all of them. With this simple motion, we create the perfect illusion of the spray being pressed. Now, let's add that refreshing perfume mist coming from the nozzle. Import the particle effect and align it perfectly with the spray tip. Sync the timing with the press animation and parent it to the nozzle so the mist follows the movement naturally. By the way, you can find the download links for all the assets I'm using in the description below. Now, to complete the sense of depth, let's move the shadow layer to our main composition. Select the shadow, use the Ctrl+X shortcut to cut it, then head over to the main scene and press Ctrl+V to paste. Don't forget to place this layer underneath the perfume bottle for a realistic look. To get the physics of the animation just right, let's move the anchor point to the bottom center of the product. By centering it there, any position or rotation adjustments we make will look much more natural, as if the bottle is interacting with a real surface. Now it's time to bring our scene to life. Select all layers except the text and toggle the 3D layer switch. This will give our layers depth and allow us to create dynamic 3-dimensional movements within the scene. After enabling the 3D mode, with all layers still selected, press P on your keyboard. This opens the position properties for every layer at once, making it easy to adjust the depth and layout of our entire scene simultaneously. Now let's create some real depth. We'll shift each layer to a different Z position, spacing them out one by one. By separating the layers in 3D space, we create a parallax effect where everything moves at different speeds when the camera moves, giving us that professional 3D environment look. To ensure the perfume and its shadow move in harmony with the base, we'll match their positions. We'll take the position values from the product base layer and apply them to both the perfume and shadow layers. This locks all three into the same depth plane, making them move as a single cohesive unit when the camera pans. Since we've spread our layers in Z-space, some might appear smaller. Now, let's select all layers and increase their scale to fit the scene perfectly. This allows us to resize our objects to their final look without messing up the precise depth and position values we just set. To add depth and dynamism to our scene, let's add a camera. Go to the Layer menu and select New Camera. This camera will allow us to move freely between our 3D layers and create that impressive cinematic feel. To manage our camera more effectively, we'll use a great shortcut. Right-click on the camera layer, go to the Camera menu, and select Create Orbit Null. This automatically creates a null object linked to the camera. Now, instead of moving the camera directly, we can use this null to create much smoother and more controlled movements within our scene. With the null object selected, press P to open the position settings. Then hold down Shift and press R to bring up the rotation settings as well. Set keyframes for all values at the start. Move 5 seconds forward in the timeline and set keyframes again. Now, go back to the first keyframes to adjust the camera's angle and position. Feel free to experiment here. You can create whatever cinematic angle works best for your project. To fill in the gaps created by our camera movement, let's select the background and floor layers. By increasing their scale and readjusting their positions to fit the frame, we eliminate those unwanted empty spaces. This ensures that no matter how much the camera moves, our scene always looks complete and flawless. Now it's time for the fine-tuning that defines the soul of your animation. Select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease by pressing F9. To make the motion even more professional, let's open the graph editor. By adjusting the speed curves here, we ensure the camera accelerates and decelerates in a much smoother, more organic way. Let's make the opening of our animation more impactful. Select the perfume layer and press P for position. Set a keyframe, move 4 seconds forward, and create a second one. Now, go back to the first keyframe and move the perfume layer to the top, completely out of the frame. This way, our product will glide into the scene from above over the duration we've set. Let's add a natural swing to this entrance. Hold Shift and press R to open the rotation settings. Set a keyframe for Z rotation and change the initial value to 20. Move to the 2-second mark and change it to -10. Then return it to 0 at the final keyframe. Select them all and hit F9 for Easy Ease. Finally, select only the position keyframes and use the graph editor to optimize the entry speed, making it fast at the start and smoother towards the end. Select the perfume layer and slide it to the right on the timeline. This way, we set the entry point in seconds without affecting the animation speed. Now for the shadow timing. As the perfume nears the base, select the shadow layer and press T for opacity. Set a keyframe at 0. When the perfume lands, increase the opacity to 100. Select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease for a more realistic finish. Finally, we're adjusting the timing of the text layer. We'll find the best moment on the timeline for the text to appear and align the layer accordingly. This ensures all elements come onto the screen in a smooth, unified sequence. Now, select all layers and activate the Motion Blur switch. This adds a natural blur to fast-moving objects, giving our animation a much more professional and cinematic feel. There's a timing issue with the text appearance here. We're fixing it quickly. By sliding the text layer slightly on the timeline, we align it perfectly with the moment the perfume settles and the camera stops. This way, we deliver the right message at the right time without distracting the viewer. And there we have it. Our animation is complete. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you're the first to know about new content. See you in the next tutorial. Take care and stay with MotionSpark.